As we now head into the last week of November, the bucks are making their final rounds before calling an official end to the primary rut. They don't seem to want it to be over just yet, and we certainly don't either. But this final week is traditionally excellent. We have a lot to look forward to. Mike Reed spends the morning of November 25th back in the timber near a bedding area, but the time serves merely as a placeholder until he is able to get into what he believes will be his best spot that afternoon.
Well, it's about 10 o'clock. We're going to call it a morning. It's been relatively slow, I think, all in all. Since my last interview, we saw another couple does and a 1.5-year-old buck. So I combined about 22 acres of corn 2-3 days ago. And so this afternoon I'm going to just double check the wind and set up on one of those cut cornfields. The cameras show that the deer really hit those in the afternoon, as you'd expect. So tonight we're going to make a move and set up over there. Hopefully have some luck this afternoon. Well, it's a little after 3 p.m. on the afternoon of Saturday, November 25th. And I'm all set up for the afternoon hunt. I'm hunting this tree for the first time this year. I've had some good hunts out of this tree over the years, but I'm sitting over a 16-acre cornfield. And just a few days ago, we combined about 12 acres of it. We're just out in this, in the corner of it, there's lots of bedding area all around it. And we've already had a little 1.5-year-old chase a doe just at 40 yards. So hopefully she's an estrus and there'll be other bucks following her. But main buck I'm after right here is TD Jr. And he's another one of those 5.5-year-old bucks I've got 3 years of history with. So there's a few other deer here that are 5.5 that I would shoot, 5.5 or older. With gun season coming up, you know, I'm running out of days to hunt with my bow, so I'll be less picky. I'm not opposed to shooting one of my management bucks, so with any luck we'll have one of those mature bucks show up tonight.
You're fighting. You're fighting.
Frigid Forge plowed-down clover is one of the most revolutionary products they sell. You ideally frost seed this blend of fast-growing clovers during the winter and then mow it down and till it under when preparing to plant big and beastie the next summer. The clover provides much-needed forage for the deer during the summer and much-needed nitrogen for the big and beastie once you plow it down. Keeping things simple and minimizing gear is always a worthwhile goal. Nikon's LaserForce range-finding binoculars bring together the two pieces of optical hardware that most bow hunters carry to the stand. Working hard to contain cost, Nikon is able to offer the LaserForce at roughly the same price you would pay if you bought a rangefinder and a high-quality binocular separately. I originally planted this plot to soybeans, but due to dry conditions they never produced. In early August I drilled big and beastie into the beans using the RTP Genesis seeder. Having a tool that provides this level of flexibility is a definite advantage when trying to create the best possible food plots. We had good success with the Ozonics HR200, which is still in the line, but their new HR300 model produces up to 45% more ozone. This can be critical in the tree stand on days when the wind is gusting.
There's a buck coming up the lane. There's does out in the field. There's a good buck in the back. Oh, it is. God, it's DY. That's a 7-9. Oh, God. What's that? I'm filming him. God, right under that stand.
With the window closing on the rut, Mike loses nothing by aggressively calling to a buck that is out of range. This mature buck obviously heard the call, but is more bent on feeding than fighting and goes back to his corn. Not willing to give up easily, Mike presses the issue.
That's a snort wheeze. That's super aggressive. We'll see if he comes over here. Or if he just is interested in feeding or not. Stay on him, stay on him. Well, that's a buck I call DY. He's a 7.5-year-old buck. He's one of the first bucks I got pictures of on this farm when I first bought it 3 years ago. I've had encounters with him every year. He's a big management buck. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm gonna have to watch the footage back, but you know, he was out all the way across the field here. I just kept grunting back into the timber. Eventually I got his curiosity and he came to check it out. And I had him at 31 yards. I thought the shot was good, just with the naked eye, but I didn't get a lot of penetration, and the arrow is right where he was standing. And he ran down to the timber, and I can see him down in there. He stood there for 10 minutes, and he just bedded down right there, and he's twitching his tail a bunch right before he bedded down, so hopefully he doesn't go past that spot. But we're going to stay in the stand till well after dark, and then I'll pick up the arrow and go review the footage and take a look. But the deer are just piling out to this cut corn. We've got 8 or 10 over here and another 8 or 10 over this way, so a lot of deer, and pretty cool to get such an old buck within bow range. So hopefully we can recover him.
So it's the next day. We're out here where I shot DY last night. So I elected to leave him lay overnight because the way he acted, he walked off and bedded down, then stood back up. And we got back to the cabin and watched the footage. It looked really good. It looked like a great shot. Broke off over half the arrow in him, probably 18 inches of penetration. So I don't think it would have gone far, but based on what I saw, decided to wait. So out here with the girls, and we're gonna get on the trail. More blood, good job. Good. All right. Good job, Anna. Yeah, there's blood right there. So you see where the leaves are ruffled where then? I think he probably went right down this trail. He went right down this trail. This, my friend, is amazing. I think he bedded down right here, you know, and just lost the trail. Let's see. I'm right here at Last Blood, and things have really dried up. I don't quite understand it. I mean, looked like an excellent hit with over half the arrow broken off inside of his lungs. Excellent lung blood at first. We've been searching now for over an hour. So I'm a little perplexed. I'm gonna get the kids back to the cabin and then come back out and just keep searching. I really don't believe he could survive that shot, but I guess I've been surprised before. These animals are pretty tough. Finally. He's not been dead very long. Well, here he is. This is a buck I call DY. I would be very surprised if he did not come back at least 7.5 years old. I bought this farm. It's my 3rd year hunting it. And when I bought it, he was out here, and we thought he was at a 5+ year old deer. So he's one that I'm pretty interested in finding out how old he is. And he showed one of the greatest acts of strength and resiliency that I've ever seen out of a whitetail. I got down, checked the arrow, which had broken off when he entered the woods on impact, and over half the arrow had gone into this deer. And so it was about 18 inches of penetration. And as you can see, this is the exit, which is just right behind the shoulder here. There's an exit hole. But we just started grid searching, heading the farthest piece of the timber from where I shot him and working our way back. And in about an hour, I caught it's really thick in there, timber stand improvement 8 to 10 years ago, but I could smell him. I thought I could smell him. Decided to walk through a big ravine to the opposite hillside and cut glass back on that hillside, and there he was. So exciting, very happy to recover him. When I got up to him, not stiff at all, and there was a fresh blood trail leading up to him. And I suspect that I possibly could have jumped him this morning with the kids when we were looking for him. Jumped him out of his last bed. I don't know how that's physically possible. You know, a clear double lung shot. When I gutted him, his chest cavity was full of blood clot and entrance exit wound, great blood trail. So it just goes to show that these are amazingly tough animals, and you know, you just never know what they're capable of. I expect this deer to fall over within 30 seconds inside of the stand after the shot. And obviously these old bucks are just really, really tough. So I feel really fortunate to have recovered him.
Low light accuracy requires a sight with bright pins. Fuse sights have some of the brightest pins on the market, making it possible to take shots right up to the end of legal shooting time with total confidence. Being able to thread an arrow through small openings can pay off in venison. For whitetail hunting, I like a sturdy arrow weighing roughly 5.5 to 6 grains per pound of your bow's maximum draw force. This produces quiet shooting and good penetration, but still permits a reasonably flat trajectory for shooting through openings. Easton's FMJ arrows fit this requirement perfectly. Realtree makes 12 different styles of their famous and highly functional Easy Hanger. You can find one that is perfect for holding your bow close at hand, stowing your gear, or positioning a video camera where you can easily capture your hunt. There's even a model that allows you to quickly attach a trail camera to a tree. Hoyt has been a standard of the bow hunting community for more than a generation. Each year, the company designs bows that are more accurate and more dependable than the year before. Redworks is their most recent offering to carry on this legendary standard. 5 days later, and 60 miles to the north, Jared Mills sneaks in to check trail cameras on the new farm, hoping to find a daylight pattern he can exploit.
It's a little after 3 o'clock here, and Josh and I are all settled in. We had a pretty good hunt last night, and right at last light we had seen 2 good bucks, and one of them I knew for sure which deer it was. The other one I couldn't tell, but I thought about trying to move in on them tonight until I got home and looked at the footage and realized that both deer are actually 4.5-year-olds that we're wanting to pass this year. So decided to come to the opposite end of the farm, and I checked cameras midday today. There's 2 or 3 deer that I would shoot that just kind of show up every once in a while, and then there's 1 deer that Josh would shoot. Josh brought his bow to the tree again tonight, and he's kind of been in this general area. So basically this setup, I've hunted here twice so far. There's an inside corner here that connects basically our bigger section of timber to all the WRP bottom land. We'll see what happens tonight. We're definitely moving towards the late season type of hunting, so just trying to catch them in between. It's Rex. Yeah, it's Rex. He's definitely looking this way. He might be coming. Yeah, get your bow. Stop him. I'm gonna lose him. You're gonna have to wait. I gotta come around. No. that's about as close as you can get right there. That's a deer we call Rex. That's the deer that Josh and I were wanting to have come in for him to shoot. And unfortunately, I grunted at him. He was, I don't know, 125 yards away probably. I grunted at him and he came up to us, but of course circled on the downwind side, but there's some brush in the way, so Josh had to wait. And it was just tough for us to both be on the same page, and then when we were on the same page, Josh tried whistling at him and he just didn't stop. So that's how it goes sometimes, a little bit chaotic here in the tree, but it was a cool encounter, if anything else. We have about 20 minutes left, I'd say. So hopefully we can get another one of the shooters come by. Unfortunately, we're down to our last couple minutes here, and the wind has died down to nothing. You can hear a pin drop in here. We have one more day left. Tomorrow's the last day before the gun season start here in Iowa. And I haven't been hunting mornings, but like I said earlier, I checked cameras, and Rex, that deer that we just let get away, was this morning was in daylight by the stand that I was thinking about going to, so it just confirmed that. We're gonna go sneak in there in the morning, and I hope he does the same thing, and Josh can get a second chance at him.
Coolers aren't just for the beach or exclusively for family vacation. They are for any time you need to keep something cold. When hanging stands during the dog days of summer, we depend on our American-made Grizzly coolers to keep refreshments cold so we can stick with it until the job is done. Sleepless nights spent waiting for daylight only to follow a weak blood trail are a thing of the past with the devastating performance of the new Wasp Jackhammer Broadhead. With its 1 3/4 inch cutting diameter, this head is the perfect combination of destruction and penetration. Interestingly, once the deer get used to a blind in a certain field, you can move it at will and they won't react to the new location. This permits us to fine-tune our blind locations as the season advances, and nothing makes this easier than fitting a redneck blind with a redneck trailer stand and pulling it from place to place with your truck or ATV. Cabela's offers a wide range of footwear that accommodate all types of hunting, from early season spot and stalk to late season stand hunting. What you wear on your feet has almost as much to do with your success as what you carry in your hands. With an industry-leading lifetime warranty, our choice in footwear is simple: Cabela's.
Well, here he is. This is a buck I call DY. I would be very surprised if he did not come back at least 7.5 years old.
Well, that's about as close as you can get right there. That's the deer we call Rex. That's the deer that Josh and I were wanting to have come in for him to shoot.
My past several days have been slow, with limited food owing to the summer's drought. My deer are scattered. I continue to hunt the broken pieces of the farm, but there is no life to these bare dirt plots, and the deer are noticeably absent. As Jared alluded, we are down to the wire now. With only 1 day left before the firearms season opens, we gear up to toss a Hail Mary. There's nothing to lose now. After tomorrow, it will be over for another year. While tomorrow is technically the first day of December, we aren't willing to admit that just yet. In our minds, this is our one last gasp at holding on to the rut. In our minds, we are still chasing November.